Hi, this is Dan in Nature. My name's Dan and I live in the redwood forest, in a redwood forest. And I thought I'd give you a little tour of a little day in the life of. This is a flatter area on the side of my hill. And 5 days ago, it looked like this. And I'm making it flatter and bigger by digging, by placing logs on the edge as a retaining wall and digging into the side of the hill, covering all of this with soil. I've been daydreaming today about moving up here. I live down there in a tent. I'm dreaming of building some kind of a cabin up here, maybe a tree house up there. But for the time being, I am hoping to put a shed here to keep my things dry in the rain, even when I'm not here. One redwood, one Douglas fir. And there's a second redwood down there that were fallen about 4 months ago. What will I build out of those? What kind of shed will go here? What will this hole look like? What will my treehouse look like? Right now, they are dreams. And with enough energy, dreams can turn into reality. So, we'll see. We will find out if I continue to choose every day to make these dreams a reality. Here we go. I'm going to head up to my garden and feed the worms some compost. All right, I got my bag packed. I'll give you a little view of my tent and trailer. It's a little mess. My area is a little messy right now. So you can see I've got a lot of stuff out. Stuff I'm using to build or create. Things I'm using to turn my dreams into reality. A lot of them are down there. You can see my hot tub cover over there, which is just a tarp. My solo stove, i.e. my fire pit that I also use to heat the hot tub. My Kodiak canvas 12-foot by 16-foot tent. My green machine, that's my little trailer. I have a teardrop. I have a picnic table, some bikes. Can you see my bathtub? You can see my towels in the back. My vehicle off to the side. This is what I call home. Oh, this is cool and a little bit dangerous. I rigged up a rope, tied around a couple trees as anchors. There's the other tree, yeah. So my kids could climb up this very steep hill to get up here instead of taking the trail that I use. Which looks more like that. Although there is a steep section to that trail too. All right, so watch your head. And this is the trail to my garden. It's pretty steep too. Check this out. This is a really big huckleberry bush. And I think if I start to water it, it'll start making some more huckleberries. This one over here makes a few huckleberries. All right, we're not there yet. Oh yeah, okay. I'll get a little closer to it. That's olive barrel. It's called an olive barrel. It's a water barrel. Ian gave me. And I have a hose hooked up to it. And it fills up. And then I have a pump attached to it too. And so if there's water in there, I can pump water up this hill. That's as far as I could get my well to reach with the pump that I have. So I just bought this little 4 gallon per minute. What is it? 45 psi. Yeah, 3 gallons per minute. And that gets water pumped up there. That's where my garden is. Let's get there. Almost there. You can see it now. Here we are. We made it. That's my worm bins. Just a few plants. Some potatoes. And some melons, I think, that grew out of the compost. And 11 baby redwood trees. One Douglas fir. That's not looking too good. You look like you need some more sun. Let's see if we can get you some more sun. There we go. They don't... When they're little like this, they're still rooting. I think they're gonna be okay. This one. This is the newest one. I don't know if he's gonna make it. Or she. Yeah, all right. So here's my little 12-volt battery that powers the pump. And that battery is powered by this little solar panel. I've had that for a while. And here we go. If the battery is powered and the pump is working, and there's water in the barrel, then there's water. I'm going to give these a quick sprinkling, and then I'll come back a little later and water them again. These squash are the most sensitive, and I haven't been taking the best care of them. But when these squash go a few hours, they go 2 days without water, then their leaves wilt and shrivel up. All right, now this is my 8-year-old's favorite part. Feeding the worms. So Ian gave me a bag of worms, and I started them out in this barrel right here. 2 months ago? Something like that. Maybe less. Ian says, keep your worms covered with a layer of cardboard and keep the cardboard wet. And this is my 8-year-old's favorite part. is feeding the worms. All right, let's see if I got to do this one-handed, so let's see how well I can do this. Let's see, maybe I'll start with this one. This is the original worm bin. There's a lot more worms in here. So we made the mistake once. There's a bunch of worms. Of watering the worms too much, and the worms left the bottom where it was like really wet, came up to the surface. But if enough of them can't get to the surface, then they drown, and a few of them drowned. So we learned that the hard way not to water. We learned the hard way not to water your worms too much. Okay, here we go. Let's feed some of these worms some compost. All right, and then this is where it's really nice to have two hands. Yeah. Hello, little wormies. Yes. So, I lived in a tent for about a year now. Almost a year. 10 months, I think. I've had the tent for about almost 2 years. A year and a half. Next time, little wormies. Right on. So I lived in a tent for about a year now, and I had access from the beginning to clean drinking water from a well that's been operating for I think at least 20 years, maybe longer, and has been getting maintenance, constant upkeep. So I had water and I had stored up a bit of food, and my friend Ian has a farm or a greenhouse. And I didn't have a place to bring my food scraps, like melon rinds and eggshells. What I started doing was putting them in a big pile and then burying them. And that worked for a while. When my family is visiting, we create quite a bit of food, and if we don't bury it quick enough, it brings in the flies and other insects, which bring in some territorial birds. There's lots of birds here. I don't really want them eating all of my food scraps and then looking for more. So I started bringing my food scraps to Ian's worms, Ian has like, I don't know, 10 times as many worms as I have, 20 times as many worms as I have, a lot of worms. So his worms are constantly hungry. So bringing them my food scraps was helpful, but also time consuming. And I had to save them for when I would visit if I didn't want to go every day. This is a big hike to get to my worms. It's probably about, not as far as it is to Ian's, but Ian's is up an equally steep hill down the road from me. So now I have my own worms, and they turn my food scraps into rich soil. That's cool, right? And then I can use that soil to grow more food. That's cool. Right. So a few weeks ago, after my kids had gone to summer camp, I brought them up here, and we grabbed as many logs and branches that we could find and brought them to this point. I'm very careful not to throw anything or scratch the water line. That's the water line. I had them throw them down to that flat, sandy, brown, flat area down there, because it wasn't that flat before. It was a little bit flat, but not very flat. So we spent days throwing logs, literally throwing logs down the hill, and putting them into a giant pile, organizing them so that there were slats and like a retaining wall to hold them all in. So I have some videos of that I'm going to post. And then last week I started digging into the side of the hill and throwing the dirt and rocks onto that sandy pile of logs. It wasn't a sandy pile of logs, it was just a big pile of treacherous logs at that point. I'm going to post a video of that too. And I am turning it. Last week I spent like 6 hours a day. Let's see, 6 hours times 5, so 30 hours with a pickaxe and a rake, flinging rocks and soil onto that pile of logs to make a solid base where I'm going to put a shed. So I think it's going to take me about another week to finish. It looks like it's almost finished now. But the back of that retaining wall is quite high off of the ground. And so I need to put a lot more soil there. Here it is. I don't usually come through this way. There's a flatter way I usually go. But I've got a bunch of stuff over there right now. So I usually come from over here. You can see I've got a bunch of stuff over there. So that's my flat area, and it wasn't that flat. You can kind of see what the angle was before. So there's a lot of material there, and I want to fill in all the gaps with soil, and that's going to take a lot of jumping to let it all settle. The real retaining wall is down there. Those are some solid pieces of wood being held in by some solid trees. And I'll fill in that over time too, as I continue to dig into the side of this hill. And who knows what I'll find. All right. So I'm gonna set up my camera and get back to work using a pickaxe and a rake. And you can watch if you want. This pickaxe I bought from a neighbor for $1 in 2011, who right when I moved in to Berkeley. I don't live there anymore. All right. Shoot fly. Don't bother me. I'm gonna get to work. Peace. This is Dan in Nature.
Garage. Garage.
Hey, give it in, cut it up, kick it out. Give it in, cut it up, kick it out. Oh, onion skin, walking around with your heart gaping. When you start to roll, your skin flies off and the teardrops roll. Oh, onion skin, you might see the drop, but you're still falling. When things start to roll, your skin flies off and the teardrops roll.
Hi. This is Dan in Nature. I'm at the end of my day with the pickaxe and the rake. And I wanted to show me what it looks like so we can see. I moved some earth, moved part of a mountain. And my body's telling me that I'm ready to rest. So I'm gonna go take a hot soak and nourish my stomach. Eat some food, maybe some lentil soup and some grilled cheese. Maybe an egg. This is Dan in Nature. Peace.